Our Father Cameli, we're really excited about your new book, The Archaeology of Faith, and I wonder if you could just share a little bit of the background story about where the book came from, where the idea of the book came from, and what it was like to write it.
Oh, Jared, it was this project has meant a lot to me. Where did the idea come from? Well, from a number of different sources. Certainly, I was interested in trying to understand my own faith, and I realized that I can't understand my own faith by just looking at myself. But I'm coming out of a history of men and women of faith, and my faith is built in so many ways on the people who have gone before me. So that's one piece. But the other thing, and this is just really important for me as a priest, is that I look around today, what I read, what I hear, and I think so many people have a very flat understanding of what faith is all about. And by that I mean, you read things from the New Atheists, for example, and they really don't. They're trying, I think, to eliminate or to put down something about faith that really doesn't exist, or at least it's not a part of real faith. On the other side, you have very kind of fundamentalist types or very traditionalist types. And that sense of faith, too, is also pretty flat. Faith, when all is said and done, when you look at it in the context of our personal histories and the unfolding across the history of the church, faith is a very complex reality. And so I wanted to address that and try to help people to understand both something about their personal journey, as I tried to understand my personal journey, but also in a more general way, to understand the depth, the complexity, and the richness of what faith is all about. Does that help to?
Yeah, I remember you saying something to the effect of that the new evangelization was missing something. We hear a lot about the new evangelization, but you wanted to take a little bit different approach. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I think with the new evangelization, of course, is really well, it's about calling people to faith, and it's about awakening that faith for people who are, for example, baptized Catholics, Christians, but in fact never really fully alive to that faith in which they have been initiated. So in order to do that, I think those who are inviting people to either to faith or to reclaim their faith, they need a fuller sense of what faith is all about. So yeah, that's I think at least an initial connection between the new evangelization and this book on faith.
This is my last question. I was really intrigued by the stories that you were able to uncover about, your faith history, the history of your family and your ancestors and how you came to be here. What would you say to somebody who'd want to embark on their own journey of archaeology of their own faith? Where would they get started?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think, of course, I'm really fortunate in the sense that all four of my grandparents came from the same town, and that there are even archaeological records for the town that go back 2,500 years, 3,000 years, and so forth. So I can, I had that's really a gift, and being able to retrieve that. And so for other people who they may not have that kind of access to the long-term history, but they can have some access. Most people have some sense of the general geography of their origins, and they may be able to begin to understand, for example, how their ancestors were evangelized in the first place, and have some sense across the years. But in the book, what I've tried to do is that after each section, so I have a section of just basically information and a bit of history about my own background, my own family and ancestors and so forth. But then accompanying that is a reflection on that particular segment, and that's followed by a question addressed to the readers. So a way that they can take a look at a particular aspect of faith development. I think, though, if people could just sit down, relax, maybe even talk with other family members, and I think that will stir some memories, and it will also begin to get them in this mode of thinking and retrieving what are the roots and origins of their faith.
Good. Thank you so much. Well, The Archaeology of the Faith is the name of the book by my father, Louis Cameli, and Archdiocese of Chicago priest. It's brought to you by Ave Maria Press. So thanks, Father Lou. I really appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome, Jared.